Alright people, I'm Catfish Dave, and I'm launched outside of Tom Fuller Park. We are in the Thief Neck Island area, which is about midways down Watts Bar Reservoir. I'm going to be sampling the waters today, and I know when it gets around Christmas time, the backwater bite gets hot, so I'm going to start out in this back creek, see what happens. Pretty much testing the water, and if nothing is great here, I will go out to the island area, the channel area. We may not have to. We may do really good right in here, so I've only got a couple rods rigged up for dragging because I've been suspend fishing a bit, but I'm going to get a couple of those out while I'm tying up another, and we're going to see what's going on down here in this Thief Neck Island area. Sometimes this time of year, the water is really cold. Temperatures down in the 40s. So far, our water temps are in the 50s still. If it was in the 40s, my choice of bait would be gizzard shad. But since the water temps are still in the 50s, I'm going to go with the skipjack herring, because by my 30 years of doing this, unless the water is really bitter cold, the skipjack gets more fish and bigger fish. I'm pulling kind of shallow, under 30 foot of water, and so I'm going to keep my baits away from the boats so I'm not spooking any fish. I'll be using planer boards for that. Once I get more rigged up, I may put one behind the boat. I may suspend one behind the boat. Planer board. It's kind of a gloomy day today. Of course, that's typical in December. The more line you let out, the farther it gets away from the side of the boat. We're going to put a big skipjack head on there. These skipjack heads I have are quite large. Quite large. This one I'll pull directly behind the boat. I'm keeping an eye out for bait on my fish finder, because the amount of bait in the area is going to decide if these fish are going to be here. Usually by December, these creeks are flat full of bait. I think just for fun, we will suspend one. I just seen my first good school of gizzard shad go up under the boat, so they were up off the bottom in about 15 foot of water. That's telling me this is about the zone we will start seeing some bites. Yeah, I just seen a shad flip up right over there. So we are getting around the bait now. The month of December can be a really good time to do this right here. January, February, fish has got to eat, people. If you got bait and you got the time, you can still get catfish on the line. The titles can be harder to get than the actual fish themselves. Just seen a really big school of shad over there. They seem to be up on the surface. Now that all that's been said, I'm gonna have me a chocolate donut. The life of a catfisherman. We may not eat all that healthy, but we get a lot of fish. Well, there he goes, 80 miles an hour. From the ramp to right here, that guy already passed 1,000 bass, but he's gonna go 20 miles from here and go bass fishing. This thing's full of bait, full of water, full of fish, points sticking out everywhere, and probably a state record sitting right here on one of these points. Headpiece is getting hit. Headpiece is getting hit. That feels like a big fish right there. I believe that's not a bad fish. Yeah, that's not a bad fish. Oh yeah, that's a nice fish. That's a nice fish right there. All right, people, that's a big fish. He knocked over my bag of chocolate donuts. Oh. Oh. Yeah, man, he knocked over my bag of chocolate donuts. Curl that tail the other way. Yeah, he just ain't gonna do it. Either way, man, that's a big old fish right there. Healthy thing, man. Oh. Hard to hold up. Hard to hold up. Whew. To all them people out there that think you hang your fishing rods up for the winter, you got it all wrong. Well, that first fish wasn't too bad. Most of my donuts are on the floor of the boat, but I guess I won't complain. It's a pretty good fish. Now we're starting to see the big schools of shad in numbers. 24 foot. All right, y'all, if something works, try it again. I'm gonna go through the same area again that we caught that big fish. And I'm just gonna probably just fish right in here for a while. We're not tearing up little fish, and hey, that's good. That's good. Usually when you're just seeing the bigger fish like that, that's what's in here. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some smaller fish, but you know, I could ride all around Thief Neck Island and drag them ledges. I could probably do a lot of things. But here again, if something works, stick with that. First fish was a good one. I'm gonna work this creek a while right here in the same area. There's one big fish, there's usually more. While I'm waiting on another fish, I'm gonna bite into some Jack Link's beef smoked sausages. Original recipe, supplied by good old cousin Delbert. Gotta have snacks out here on the boat, man. You'd never be able to do the time, or at least I wouldn't. I don't really care what I've got to do, as long as I've got something to chew. All right, y'all, what I'm doing now is something I learned last spring, really. When you got this boat, you can move around. You're on the bank, you're fishing where you're fishing. But the day I found a 62 pounder last spring, I was in backwaters, and I noticed not all that backwater creek was the same. There was certain little pockets you would go up to, and the temperature would literally jump as much as 10 degrees warmer. Well, I'm going up into this pocket now, and I've watched my temperature come up just a little bit. So sometimes it's not necessarily a depth thing. During the cold time of year, it's a water temperature thing. And so I'm going to come up in this little pocket here. It gets really shallow, and see what we can come up with in this little bit warmer water. It seems to be warming as I'm going up, so the one we're looking for could be back up here in this skinny little creek. We ended up foul hooking him right across the top fin. He ain't much. He got to looking at that bait the wrong way. He took a couple bites out of it first, then got caught. 10 foot of water. Cruising up even shallower. I'm seeing a ton of bait in here. I'll pull it to about 3 or 4 feet and see what happens. Bad fish right there. Alright y'all, we're hung up over there. Not near as big as the first one, but that's not a bad fish right there. Not bad at all. We hooked him in 9 foot of water. I'm gonna have to go back and try to get my dragon weight back here. That's not bad at all, man. I went ahead and pulled that suspended rod because it hasn't been hit since I've been here. Another thing I noticed was 99% of my bites are coming on the planer boards. As I was coming into this creek, this board over here was getting all the bites. I started wondering if this board had any bait on it. One thing I noticed was this board was a lot closer to the boat. And so I said, you know what? Let me let some line out. So I let some line out, got it even farther away from the boat, and when I done that, we picked up that second good catfish in 9 foot of water. The boat does spook fish. If I want to start getting fish on this rod back here, I need to get a lot more line going out from the boat. If you're pulling directly behind the boat, let lots and lots of line out. One good fish in 22 foot, one in 9 foot. I noticed the bait was back here when I came back here, so it's just a matter of covering this creek a little better. When I get back out into the main creek, I may go even shallower. I'm going to experiment with my speed on the way out. We caught the first fish going 0.5. We caught the second one going 0.6. If we can get them to bite at a higher rate of speed, we will cover more water quicker, putting us over more willing fish. I think we're going over some fish, but maybe not necessarily willing to eat. But by covering more water in a shorter amount of time, we will more quickly come across those fish that are willing to eat. So now we're going to run 0.7. I believe these fish could hit a fast-moving bait right now in December just by the way these fish are moving when I'm fighting. They're not lethargic at all. They are full of energy. So I believe they wouldn't have any problem attacking a fast-moving bait right now. I'm going to let a little more line out of this one rod here. That headpiece did get hit just now as I was letting more line out, running 0.7. So obviously the faster speed isn't going to deter these fish. That's even better for our cause, because like I say, we can cover more water quicker. Letting even more line out of that back rod, getting it farther away from the boat. When I don't get one single bite on a suspended rod, that's telling me something. Somebody's got a tree through out here. I'm gonna see if I can get my stuff back. We want to get it back, at least get that dragon weight back. At least get the dragon weight back. Oh God, that's a big tree, I'm pulling it. Come on. Oh shit. Whew. These dragon weights don't really get hung. What gets hung is the hook, and well, I got everything back except the hook. No biggie. As far as that temperature thing, we are still benefiting from the temperature thing because This Bat Creek system is about 2 degrees warmer right now than that main channel, so I'll get these baits out and I'll tie me another hook on. Let me have another donut. Well, that didn't stay out there long. Didn't stay out there long. We're gonna spot lock right here. Yes, sir. Couldn't even get my second rod out. I sure ain't getting this other hook tied. 0.7 miles per hour. This faster retrieve could be doing something. Another fish for today. And don't know if I'd got it done without them chocolate donuts in the boat. One little thing I might add, as far as the boat spooking the fish, if you spot lock in one spot and suspend, it's not as bad because the boat's not moving up on them. I know there's guys out there doing this stuff in kayaks and suspending and trolling and getting them straight below the boat real well. Well, I've noticed that this boat spooks them. Now, there's a big difference in the size of this boat and the size of that kayak. Another thing is, if you're in deep water, you're less likely to spook them that way. Here, the deepest water we're in is 22 feet. It's not really muddy. It's fairly clear. And these fish sense something big coming on them. So some days it doesn't spook them, but some days, more times than not, I've noticed most of my fish will come on those planer boards to the side of the boat unless you've got that back rod going way behind the boat. There's always exceptions to the rule, and some days they're just active and it don't seem to bother them. Most of the time it seems it does. Thief Neck Island is a diverse area, lots of water out here. Many places we could have went. There's lots of lessons in my videos if you look for them, and it's like that bass fisherman at the beginning of the video. He passed 1,000 bass just getting out of this cove. He probably passed 10,000 more getting to wherever he made his first cast. If I wouldn't have started out testing the waters as soon as I left the boat ramp, chances are I would have went out in the main river out there and caught dinks all day. But because I was willing to test the waters at the start, I nailed a big fish. So I guess the biggest lesson of today is, don't pass up the fish, people.